In the globalization age, there are very important reasons for everybody to be involved in a consideration of where we're going on this little speck in the cosmos, because our destinies are increasingly intertwined, and it certainly can't be left to the experts. Everybody's got their own experience and their own perspective that they can bring to bear, and frankly, it's often as valuable, if not more valuable, than what the experts bring to the table, because it's fresh and it doesn't come from a particular point of view that might have been predicted in advance.
A society where people are engaged in discourse and dialogue about complex global matters is actually a healthy society. And it's an even healthier society, granted, if we can translate those ideas or float those ideas up to the top of a decision-making chain. But even if you can't, just having the discussion is important.
It's really easy to forget the importance of these larger issues in our everyday lives when we can be preoccupied with where we're going to be going to do our graduate degree the next year, or the next phase in our book tour, or our crumbling family life, or needing to make a mortgage payment, or whatever it is. It's really easy to get completely preoccupied with the minutia and lose track of these kind of higher level of analysis sorts of issues. And so I guess my final point would just be that I think we all need to try very hard to keep enough mind share available for these larger and important and more complex issues, because they're at the end of the day going to determine the quality of the rest of our lives and the lives of our kids and their kids, and they're in urgent need of attention.
Because we live in a really connected world, I think it's really important that we all engage in things like this as much as we can. Obviously, within reason, we can't all spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, engaged in extracurricular activities. And at the end of the day, we do need to work, and we do need to worry about our own personal situations, but not at the expense of forgetting about how important it is and what we stand for, and asking ourselves more often, are we happy? Is there something more we want from Canada? Do we want our role in the world to be different? And if we do, then how are we going to go about doing that?
It'd be fantastic. We had MP come down, set up a chair of circles or a circle of chairs in Dundas Square in Toronto and just have a citizens dialogue. Why doesn't this happen more often?
This country is too valuable, and the values of this country are too important for us to be quiet in our opinions. Too often, Canadians confuse niceness with quietness, and I'm quite proud of the moniker of Canadians always being nice. I think nice is undervalued. Nice is powerful. Nice is rare. I'm proud to be a nice Canadian, but I don't want to be a quiet Canadian. And I think that it's really important for us as Canadians to enter into difficult discussions with each other, to acknowledge that we don't all agree on everything, but to also acknowledge that we don't have the option of being apathetic. We don't have the option of accepting to do absolutely nothing. There are groups of Canadians in this country that have enormous potential to increase Canada's contribution to global peace building and conflict resolution. Many of those communities are actually here in Canada because they fled conflict zones overseas. And once they come here, we as Canadians that are already here on the receiving end need to encourage those people not to forget about the conflicts that they knew, but rather to use their knowledge of and their passion for the issues underlying those conflicts in a constructive and positive way to talk to other Canadians, perhaps from the other side of those same conflicts, and identify strategies for how they as Canadians and how Canada as a country can address those conflicts overseas. That's a huge, big challenge, And as Canadians, we're more likely to just not want to ruffle feathers. Don't talk about the elephant in the room. Let's be nice. I just don't think that being quiet and being nice are synonymous. I think it's important for us to have difficult discussions, engage with each other on difficult topics, and ultimately come together as Canadians to improve the world. That is really the true value of niceness.
The last election we had was the lowest voter turnout since Confederation. And we say, okay, we have an apathetic population. But by going out and actually plumbing this population and being able to say, what do we actually care about? How do we care about the country? And what are our, what kind of values do we have as Canadians? And what assets do we have as a country? And what should we be doing on the world stage? You all of a sudden had all of these people rushing forward from all walks of life, from all different kinds of backgrounds, saying, we want to get involved and we want to talk about this. So that in and of itself has shown that the population is by no means apathetic, that Canadians do care about Canada as a country, they do care about what our reputation is on the world stage.
If you care about something, pursue it. And if we don't, then it will continue to be it will be sort of a monotone world of foreign policy players full of just one kind of person with one kind of opinion, and the institution, in my opinion, will continue to prevail as the sort of leading voice. But the more that we get involved, the more that we take interest in these things, the more that's transforming. It's a slow process. You don't always think it's happening, but I think I've even seen evidence in the 3 years since this project started that, there's been an evolution.
Je pense qu'on aura rendu un service en rappelant à tout le monde que la citoyenneté, c'est en fait quelque chose que l'on ne fait pas seulement aux élections, c'est quelque chose que l'on fait en participant au débat, en donnant son opinion, en s'impliquant dans des activités comme celle-ci, qui sont des activités complètement gratuites, pour lesquelles on n'a pas de rémunération. Et qu'en fait, la rémunération importante, c'est celle qui vient après, lorsque l'on voit que notre gouvernement nous écoute et développe des politiques qui répondent à nos intérêts et à nos engagements éthiques et moraux.
I would like to think that when someone is appointed Foreign Affairs Minister for the first time and he or she is told by the department we have, briefing books for you to read, it'd be nice to think of a Foreign Affairs Minister who say, what, before the briefing books, I'm going to go out to high schools and college campuses, and I want to ask the people for whom we are all working, who are going to inherit this country, what do they think? What are their views? I'd like to get their views first before I get the briefing books and all that stuff. That would be a good thing, and I think Canada's World is the kind of incentive to do that.